Hey, what's going on? I hope that you're doing good. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Reason Rack plugin again, and I'm going to be specifically talking about effects. The effects that are in the Reason Rack are so good, they're super sick, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of highlight them. So I'm going to talk about the standard effects that are here. I'll highlight some of my favorite ones, and then I'll finish up just talking about where I think there's some room for improvement. Before we dive into the effects, I just want to quickly highlight what a great deal I think the Reason Rack plugin is. If you're looking into third-party VSTs and you just want to expand outside of what your DAW already offers, I think that the Reason Rack plugin is a good way to go. If you're just first getting into Reason, it's going to be a little expensive. It's $500, but that doesn't just come with the VST. It also comes with its own fully functional DAW, and it's really, really powerful. So you'd have two. If you're into subscriptions, I'm not. It's $20 a month. So this is a really easy way to get into this if you just want to try it out for a little bit. Now, if you're like me and you had an older version of Reason, you can upgrade for $200. And even if you had like Reason 2 or Reason 3, if you still have that license, you can upgrade for $200. There are plugins out there that cost $200, $300, $400 for just one device. And this has so many devices. So just keep that in mind as I'm showing you this. So let's get into it. So I figured the best way to highlight most of these effects is to just use drums. And as we move along, maybe I'll bring in some other instruments. Okay, so probably the best place to start, right? Your first like necessary effects are gonna be reverbs and delays. This RV7, this is old. This is like over 200 years old. This is over 20 years old. And it just has a bunch of different algorithms, and then you have an ability to change the size, the decay. You've got sort of like a high cut filter here, just a dry wet knob. So let's just listen to a couple of these. A small room. Sounds good. There are CV inputs on the back, so it looks like we have control over the decay. So we could run an LFO or something like that in here. It's pretty cool. We're gonna move over to the simple delay, and then we'll go back and I'll show you a more advanced reverb and then a more advanced delay or echo. These were sort of meant to be companions, I think. Like if you look at the form factor, if you look at the size of these, they just sort of look kind of cute together like that, and they're just like half rack size. And we have two different modes here, right? So we have steps, which is clock synced, and then you have an ability to change the divisions so that you've got triplets or just regular 16ths, and then you can change this clock sync time here, and then we have milliseconds. We've got a feedback control here. Cool. If we flip the rack over, same thing. We've got CV inputs for feedback and panning, which is pretty cool. It's a very simple utility device, RV7000. So this has gone through a couple of different iterations. I believe that this might be the third or fourth, second one, third, I don't know. But it used to be purple. First of all, it's got a ton of different presets. So it's got everything that you could possibly need. Let me just scroll through all this stuff. Look at this. This is crazy. This is a ton. Right on the panel here, we've got controls for decay, high frequency damp, and then high EQ. If we select this little remote programmer here, then it gives us some more options. See our algorithm that we have, and we can change it. So we've got halls and arenas and plates and springs and echoes and reverse and all kinds of stuff. Convolution, pre-delay, volume controls, and all that sort of stuff. We've got some modulation that's in there. As we move this decay knob here, right, we can see, whoa. Take a look up here, we've got these little buttons here. So we have EQ and we have gate enabled. If we select EQ over here, we can now edit this. And then we also have gate control, so we can do gated snare type stuff. Also, if we flip the rack and we take a look on the back, we've got some CV in, as you would expect, but we have this little gate trig here, which is really cool because you can then send MIDI, or you could send some sort of modulation source in there to then open up the gate for the reverb. So there's some creative stuff that you could do there. Let me show you something. This is really, really cool. So not only is this an algorithmic reverb, but it is also a convolution reverb, and you can load your own impulse responses. So I'm going to use this in the way that you're not supposed to be using this. I'll just take this and drag it right in here. All right, so that's enough of that. Echo. You can already sort of aesthetically see that this is sort of emulating like a space echo. You've got feedback controls, a diffusion network, drive with some color, you've got some filtering that you have in there, and then some modulation that can control some of that sort of stuff. It's cool, it's neat. Ooh. We've got this mode control down here, triggered mode, right? So we can move it here. And now we're not going to hear any of this delay until we click this trigger button. We have roll down here. That's enough of that. Chorus, simple chorus. Same thing here, we've got newer devices. They've been adding these over time to replace some of these older devices, but the old utility devices sound good. You just saw it, right? So let's take a look. I don't know. I don't even know what this stuff does. I don't, for me, like a chorus, I don't know. That's a lot. There's a chorus ensemble. I bet you this thing sounds really good on like some key. All right, let's do it real quick. Let's get a subtractor going. Oh. If you're not like, you're not like the chorus master and you don't know how to dial in your chorus, like I don't know how the hell to do this. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Uno chorus. All right, see, this is what I was talking about. Oh boy. All right, Foldback distortion. This is another one of the older devices. This thing sounds good too. So we've only got two controls on here. It looks like we have, I guess, maybe how harsh this is, like maybe some sort of like a wave shape. I don't know what Foldback is. And then there's an amount. Same thing, we flip it over. We've got an amount CV control, which is pretty cool. So you could attach that to an ADSR or an LFO. You know how you modulate things. Now we have a more advanced distortion, and this is Scream 4. I think they've since made a Scream 4 movie. They did. They made a Scream 4. This was 2011. Nobody knows about that. No one cares. Here's Scream 4. This came out before Scream 4, the movie, came out, I think. So take a look here. We've got a couple, this is sort of smart how they came up with this. So they packed a bunch in here in this sort of interface. So we've got 10 different types of distortion or overdrive or whatever you want to call it. And then you've got different controls here, parameter 1 and parameter 2. So it's sort of kind of like a electribe type control, right? Just two controls here. And then we also have a high, mid, and low cut. And then we have this sort of body resonance shaper, and there's some controls that are in there. Let's just go ahead and thumb through some of these and then we'll keep it moving. I like that. This thing is great. I honestly, like, I know that there are Distortion VST plugins that are out there that are super expensive, that are like $200–300. This thing is great. It just comes with it. But then you also would get 69 other instruments and effects. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Channel Dynamics, Channel EQ, and Master Bus Compressor. In Reason, the way that it is configured is you have a mixer up at the top, and it is an SSL mixing board. It's an emulation. If you're into like Waves plugins and you like these sort of like virtual analog things, it is a virtual analog SSL mixing console. They've taken that one particular EQ channel and they put it into this rack effect here. High pass filter and a low pass filter. Stuff. Here. I really like using a visual EQ. I don't know what they're called, pan. You know what I'm talking about. The one that has like all the waveforms in the background so that you mix with your eyes instead of your ears. I'm used to that. And so this is really helpful every once in a while to just kind of come in and mix with your ears. Channel Dynamics. And we've got a compressor and then a gate and an expander. Now I never use an expander. I don't know where the use is for that. Maybe somebody else does. It's a G-COMP. Let's smash this a little bit and see what it sounds like. Fast and fast. Let me show you something. Make another device. Let's make a new beat. And let's go ahead and add a subtractor here. Add a Reason Rack effect, G-COMP. Over here, you have this sidechain input. Select Reason, right? It says Reason up here. Open this up, flip it over, you've got this sidechain input. What goes into this sidechain input here is what's gonna come out here. So now you can take this and pop that in there. If we hit sidechain, okay, you get my point, right? So you can sidechain into these different devices. I don't know how you do it in Logic or Pro Tools or whatever it is that you're using, but I know how to do it in Ableton. I'm gonna show you just a couple of my favorite ones. This is one of my favorite Reason Rack effects. Honestly, I think that they should make their standalone for this. They should just make it 30 bucks and just like throw it out there for everybody to have access to. I think it was like Instagram inspired. If you click on these, right, you get these little cute pictures, right? Like TV looking stuff. This is really cool. I think that this, like whoever designed this, I wanna like be your friend because I think that this is really cool. You have a dry wet, you have volume, you've got a gain control so you can sort of push it, and then you have this transform, and it's sort of ambiguous. We don't know necessarily what it does from device to device. We don't know what they are, but that's okay. It's just more fun to explore that way. Tape, let's listen. People spend a lot of money on this stupid thing. It's just static. You sort of get the idea, right? It's just very quick color, quick flavor. I love this so much. I think it should be its own standalone device. Check this out. Synchronous effect modulator. This thing is so cool. A timed modulation device. You have distortion, a filter with a couple of different filter types, delay and reverb. And you're able to sort of go in here and just basically draw shapes, right? So you can draw shapes and then you can specify, hey, I want these shapes to be distortion amount, right? I just like thumbing through the presets. It's so sick. Okay, Neptune. So Neptune is Reason's auto-tune. I'm gonna turn the correction speed all the way up. I'm gonna keep preserve expression down. So then we're gonna get more of like a T-Pain type sound, right? Alone up in this room. Cool. You've got format control, so if we turn this on, we can shift this so we can get the tone a little bit lower or higher. Check this out. We're gonna insert a MIDI track. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna select MIDI out and we're gonna put it to 2. The way that this should work is I should be able to play into this, right, using MIDI controls. Okay. I think that this is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get this out of here. Let me finish up with this and just talk about a couple of things that I dislike. As far as I know, I don't have Reason 13, so I'm using Reason 12, and maybe they've updated this in Reason 13. I don't think that they have. I don't like Reason's stock equalizer. It's time to be updated. I think that we need something like a Pro Q. There are some third-party rack extensions. So for instance, this Synapse EQ. So you can see what you've got going on. I know that it's going through this M-class equalizer, but we're not seeing anything. And we've only got these two, right? And then you just have this low and high shelf, whereas you've got a little bit more control here. I don't know, I just don't like it. It's too small, I don't like it. I don't like the limiter, this M-class maximizer. I've never understood how to use it. I don't understand how to brick wall it. And I've seen a lot of folks set up a master chain with this and they'll explain how they're using it. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, not a big fan of this M-class. Maybe in a future video, I'll dive in and take a look at some of my favorite third-party rack extensions. But for now, I just wanted to give a brief overview of the effects and just sort of explain why I think that it'd be a great addition to whatever comes standard or stock within your own DAW. Anyways, I hope that you have a good week. If you get a chance, please listen to the music that I have that's in the link down below in the description. And otherwise, I hope that you have a great week. Bye.